Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. So today we are going to start the remaining part of the previous lecture that was to be continued, and the topic the osmoregulation and plants. So there were four categories of plant on the basis of habitat, and the first one that we have discussed that was hydrophytes in the previous lecture. Now the next category of the plant that is xerophytes. So what are xerophytes? Xerophytes, these are the plants which live in dry environment. Like desert. So these plants are called the xerophytes. What is the meaning of the xerophytes? Zero mean dry, and phytes it means plants. So the plants which live in dry environment, dry conditions, such kind of plants are called xerophytes. Now, with respect to osmoregulation, they have the problem of dehydration because there is a less amount of water in the soil in such an area like deserts. So the problem they have to be faced by these plants, that is dehydration. But they will maintain their osmoregulation. They have some mechanism. There are some adaptation. They have adopted some of the character traits by which it maintains its water and solute concentration constant inside their body. Now, what are those adaptations? Now, let's discuss these adaptations of the xerophytes one by one in detail. So, adaptation of the xerophytes. Number one, stomata. You know the stomata. The number of stomata, they are less. So the number of stomata, they are less. If the number of stomata decrease, so the rate of transpiration will be decreased. So less amount of water will be lost from their body. So the first one, that number of stomata, that is less. The second one, that is a waxy layer. Waxy layer. Around the stomata, as you can see in the diagram, that around the stomata there is a waxy layer. So if this is the stomata, these are the two guard cells of the stomata. Guard cells. And this is the pore of the stomata. So around this guard cell, or on the upper surface of this guard cell, there are waxy layer. So it decreases the transpiration, and this area become humid. And if this is humid, so there will be less transpiration. So the second character with respect to stomata, that is waxy layer. The next one, that is sunken stomata. You can see here in this diagram, the stomata is a little bit below than epidermis. So when it below epidermis, it is not fully exposed to the environment. So then there will be less amount of water that will be transpired. So this was the first adaptation with respect to stomata, and their stomata is a little bit changed from the other kinds of the plant. Now come toward the next adaptation, and that is root system. Root system is in desert, in such an area there are dry places, dry habitat. So the water table that is very deep, that is not shallow. So their root, they are deep root system. Deep root system. Their root, they are very deep in the soil, so they can absorb water from the deep table of the water. So this is the next adaptation of the xerophyte, and that is a deep root system. The next one, that is leaves, less number of leaves. The number of the leaves, they are less. You know that when the number of leaves increase, the size of the leaves increase, so there will be more surface area, and from more surface area there will be more transpiration. So the number of leaves usually in these plants are less. In some of the plant they may be absent, like in the cactus. You can see this is the cactus. In some of the plant, these leaves, they are modified into thorns or spines, and you can also see in that diagram. So when they are in the form of thorns, or they are in the form of spiny like structure, जिसको कांटे भी कहते हैं, so there will be less amount of water that will be transferred from the plant. So this is the next adaptation or the character or trait of the xerophytes. Now the next one, that was few branches. Few branches. The number of branches in these plants are very less. Sometimes they are only a single main stem or branch, like in the cactus. So if the number of branches, they are decreased, so the number of leaves will be decreased, less number of leaves will be there, and less surface area will be exposed, and there will be less transpiration, loss of water from the plant. So this was the next trait. The next date is thick cuticle. Thick cuticle. Cuticle, you know that it is a non-cellular waxy layer. This is a non-cellular waxy layer. Non-cellular meaning that it is not composed of cell. It is composed of a material that is called wax. So on the leaf surface, if this is the leaf, you can see here in the diagram. So on the surface of the leaf and the surface of the young stem or green stem, there is a thick cuticle. So this waxy layer, the function of this wax layer, thick wax layer, to minimize the transpiration. So there will be less transpiration because of this thick cuticle. So less amount of water will be lost from the plants. The next character of that is a succulent organ. Succulent organ. In this plant there is a special tissue, or you can say that is a storage tissue, a bulging swollen tissue where the water is stored. So that organ or that part that is called succulent. They may be like in the stem, like in the cactus. They may be the leaves, like aloe vera. If you dissect or cut the aloe vera leaf, so you can see there that in the leaf there are succulent. There is succulent. There is storage tissue. There is a gel-like material. Actually, there is amount of water that is stored inside that plant. So these were the few adaptation of the xerophytes they face the problem of dehydration. So they preserve water inside their body because of these adaptation. Now the example of the xerophyte, cactus. So this is the photograph or diagram of the cactus. Aloe vera, aloe vera, aloe आप जानते हैं इसको. This is the leaves, and the leaves they have storage tissue. Acacia arabica, it is also in Urdu or Pashto called kikar. So this was all about the xerophytes. So the next osmoregulation that is in halophytes. Halophytes, this is the next category of the plant. First of all, the terminology or the meaning of the halophytes. Halo mean salts and phytes mean plants. So these are the plants, halophytes. These are the plants which live in salty condition, salty environment. Or you can also say that these are the plants they tolerate the salts. So if there are more salts in the soil or in the water, so these plants can tolerate that salty or condition. So these are the halophytes. How they adapted to such kind of environment. For this, you should know about the osmosis. What is diffusion? Osmosis, diffusion, turgor pressure, osmotic pressure, and you have studied these things in class 9 biology. And also the solute and solvent concentration or concentration of the solution. So first of all, you should know about these things. If your concept is not clear about these things, so it will be very difficult for you to understand the adaptation of the halophytes. So let me revise these things. Let's suppose that there is two solution. This is your previous class 9th revision about osmosis and diffusion. So there are two solutions. One is less concentrated and on other side there is more concentrated solution. For example, in this solution there is 1 glass of water and 2 spoons of salt, and in this is number 1 solution and this is number 2 solution, and in this solution there is 1 glass of water and 1 spoon of the salt. So this solution is more concentrated as compared to this one. And if there is a semi-permeable membrane between these two solutions, so water will move from high concentration toward lower concentration. So here is the water is less and here is the water is more. Okay, so that is about concentration of solution. So water will move from less concentrated solution, keep in mind, from less concentrated solution toward more concentrated solution. So water will move from this solution to this solution, from 2 to 1 to osmosis process, until the concentration of the both of the solution will remain same. So the movement of water that will be stopped. So in such by phenomena, the water is absorbed by the plants. Now let's suppose that this is the plant the leaf, and these are the roots. These are the roots, and you can see here that these are the root hairs at the ending. Root hairs. Let me find this area, enlarge this area. So this is the root cross section and this is the root hair. This area, so this is the root, and this is outside environment or soil or water, etc. And this is inside the cell. Inside the cell. So when normal plants like mesophytes or xerophytes, that already the xerophyte we have discussed and mesophyte we will discuss in the next topic. So how they absorb water, because there is more concentrated solution inside, more concentrated solution, and outside there is less concentrated solution. So in earlier example, I have told you that water will be moved from less concentrated solution toward more concentrated solution. Okay, so here as a whole, as a solution, like in that example there was 1 spoon of minerals or salts outside, and inside there is, let's suppose, 2 spoon of minerals and water. Okay, so the concentration of water is more and the concentration of water inside is less. So through osmosis process, the water that will be moved inside and plant will absorb water. But now come toward the topic, halophytes. Halophytes are living in such a condition. So that is the opposite. The case is opposite. Concentration of the solution, it is more or high as compared to inside, less concentration. So the water will be moved from outside the plant. So halophyte have the problem of dehydration. The process is reverse. The water will move from the plant roots to the soil, but they have a mechanism to absorb the water. Now come toward that mechanism. Mechanism for absorption of water by halophytes. Now, how the halophyte absorb water? So in class 9 you have also studied the active transport and passive transport. Active transport, passive transport mean the movement of molecule from high concentration toward lower concentration spontaneously. And active transport mean that the movement of molecule from low concentration toward high concentration with the help of energy, with the help of ATP. So here there are more salts are there, like let's say sodium, chloride, etc. All these salts, they are in the solution form. So these salts are actively absorbed by the halophytes. So when the more solute, they are actively with the help of energy, with the help of ATP. So the concentration become high as compared to outside. So it absorbs more minerals again and again. So the concentration of the solution become high as compared to outside environment, and become less. Concentration become less as because of the active absorption of the salts with the help of energy. And when the concentration of salt become high inside, so the water will move from less concentration toward high concentration of the solution. So water is no more outside as compared to inside, and the water will move in this direction, and the plant will absorb water. And these are the halophytes. The halophytes example, these are mangoes. You can see these are the mangoes plants. They live on the side of the concentrated water, concentrated salt condition. In the surrounding, that the water is abundant, but inside this water there is more salts as compared to inside of the plants. So these are the mangoes plant. Other example that you can see here in the diagram, that is a salicornia. So this is a salicornia plant, and you can see here that the soil that is almost whitish, and this is because that is a saline soil. There is more salts in this soil, but this plant can survive in this condition because it absorbs water, it tolerates salts. And how it tolerates salt, we have already explained it. So this was about the halophytes. So we have completed 3 categories of the osmoregulation in plant. One that was hydrophytes, and that was in the previous lecture. And in this lecture we have completed the xerophytes and halophytes, and inshallah in the next lecture we will discuss the mesophytes. So thank you very much.